Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Katka Letzing. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Kickstart Innovation, and I'm very excited to host together with my colleagues the Investor Summit for this year. I'm really excited that we have startups and investors joining us from Switzerland, but also other 15 countries. So thank you so much for joining us. Maybe what's going to happen for today, we are going to have a great speech from Thomas Dubendorfer, who is the president and founder of HealthTech, to give you some advice how to win angel investors as a startup. Then we will have our first batch of startups representing FinTech, InsurTech, food, and entrepreneurship. Then we'll have a panel discussions with investors of Swisscom, Credit Suisse, and HealthTech. Then we'll have second part of the startup pitches, and then we'll have networking online through the air meet here, where you will have a chance to meet each other and kind of take it from there after the pitches. And so what is Kickstart about? So I'm really happy to enable this every year for the last 6 years to connect startups and with investors and really learn from each other, but also see what are the potential collaborations together in terms of course, investments, but also other partnerships. Kickstart is connecting later stage startups and corporates and other ecosystem players to create deep innovation and acceleration of the deep tech innovation with positive impact. We have been doing that now for, as I mentioned, 6th year, and we are looking for seeing a tackling of the different focus areas as well as sustainability moving forward. Nothing will be possible without our startups that are joining us from many countries. So far, as you can see, our alumni raised over 1.5 billion. So it's great to see already some of the successes from the investments in connection also to Kickstart. Like you can see that with Lobster, for example, that was investment of Swisscom Ventures, as well as Planted, that was supporting through scaling of Coop and Micro, Vizu, actually, that was invested by HealthTech, and many others. So there's really great examples, and we really hope that as a startup today, you will get the same opportunities in upcoming days, weeks, and months. So far, we also looked over 170 deals, and really there has been countless of investments, mostly in C Series A investments so far. And if we go next, we're really happy to work with ecosystem of different partners. So as you can see, there are partners from the public and private sector that have been engaging with Kickstart. Some of them really for many years, and really with the view of creating the partnerships with the view of the commercial projects that can scale in Switzerland and beyond, as well as the investment. So as you can see, many of the corporates also engage with us with their corporate arms, venture corporate arms, to invest in our startups. And so we actually have many of them also joining us today for the networking and also for the panel discussions. I'm really excited about that. And without further ado, I would like to engage our first speaker, Thomas Dubendorfer, who is the president and founder of HealthTech. He has been also mentor of Kickstart for a few years now, and we're really excited about your new book and so many of the activities and ecosystems. So thank you so much for joining us today and sharing some of your thoughts. The floor is yours, Thomas.
Hello. It's great to see you all. It's 44 people online, I see right now. A few more are still joining, I guess. I have the pleasure to give you a short keynote on some funding trends and tell you how to win an angel investor. Now, maybe we can show the slide deck. Yes, exactly. So let's dive into it, to funding trends on the next slide. First of all, I have some really good news. Yeah, just on the next one with the statistics, you see what happened after, or maybe thanks to the COVID crisis. Funding did not go down, the opposite happened. Here you see the numbers for half years of funding. And if we compare the first half 2020 to the first half 2021, there was a gigantic jump, both on the European level as well as on the global level. And that's pretty exciting. So now funding in first half was 2.9 times higher than the year before, which is a staggering 49 billion euros, which went into European startups. Now, why is this? Some people said that it most likely, oh, now you can see me also, that's good, great. Why is this that we now have this big jump? I think one reason is that people have to travel much less to meet founders, also VCs. They can meet many more founders, and this means they're gonna meet more people in the same amount of time, and most likely gonna find more high potentials. And because you can meet so many more people, of course, you have better deal flow in total. So this is definitely a big advantage. Even though a lot of people at first had said, if you can't meet people physically, they will never invest. Now, given this was the problem for longer, and they could not stop investing, especially the VC funds, which were under time pressure, they eventually had to accept the new normal, that in many cases, you didn't have a lot of chance to actually meet them physically. I guess this is going to stay. And I think that's great news, because it also means that it's much easier accessible now for founders to talk to many more investors, not just in Europe, but also globally. So let's look at how this looks on Switzerland on the next slide. So here you see on the left total invested capital in Swiss francs in the first and the second quarter. Also here you see we already have topped all the years before in the funding, if you compare it year by year. And also the number of financing rounds is now higher than ever before in the first half of the year. It's now at 124 financing rounds for Swiss startups just in the first half of 2021. Chances are the total will also be a record-breaking year. And I think that's really good news for everybody who's having a startup right now, because chances getting funded seems to have improved. Let's move to the next slide. And of course, exits are also important. Some people said it's very hard to sell a company during the crisis. Now the numbers tell the opposite. We never had so many exits in Switzerland with Swiss startups than ever before. And it's split here by whether the buyer is a Swiss acquirer or whether it's an international acquirer. And there were 20 exits alone with international buyers in the first half of 2021, which is twice the number of exits than the year before for international buyers. So also that is great news, because it also means that it's not just investing in the startups, which is happening much more. It's also that companies get sold much more, which is important, such that even more money flows into the ecosystem of startups. Now that's definitely exciting. Hopefully many more investors will now join the game, because they see the ecosystem is actually working quite well. Now, of course, when you want to get funding, you first have to pitch. You pitch to investors to get them excited about your startup. And Katko asked me, hey, Thomas, I guess you've seen so many pitches. Now, can you tell me a little bit what they shouldn't do when they pitch? So what did you learn when you saw these pitches? Can you tell us how to be well prepared? And for that, I brought you a few examples of things that I got to see as an investor. And I will tell you why this is maybe not the most optimal way to pitch. So I guess you can also learn from bad examples, which is exactly what we're going to do now. So let's look at the first slide. It's from a startup that had 90 seconds only to do an elevator pitch. And this is the one slide that they brought. And in 90 seconds, they tried to read through all of that, which is impossible, of course. And also while he was talking, people tried to read the slide, which was very confusing, because until you were half through the slide, the time was up. Now, what happened here? Basically, the founder said everything is equally important. That's why he tried to put everything on a single slide. And because he was told he can only use one slide, he made the font extremely small, such that it was impossible to read it if you were not either in front of a screen, but if you were like in the back of a room, because this was also a live presentation when he gave it. So most people in the room, they could read exactly nothing, maybe the title, but not the rest. And what he was saying was not really well supported with the things that were on the slide. At the same time, he thought that he has to bring across all the facts such that people would eventually get excited. Now, exactly the opposite is true. If you want to get people excited, you don't need to tell them everything. You just need to tell them the most interesting pieces of what you have with your startup, whether it's the mission, whether it's your passion, whether it's your team, or whether it's just what you do has never been done before. In the end, it's about telling a story and getting people excited to come with you on a ride. And when you go on a ride, you don't want to know everything in detail, how the full ride will look like. You just want to know that you're there with the right team and that you will like the mission because it kind of appeals to you. So when you ever have to do an elevator pitch, the thing that you should seriously consider before you even write something on a slide is, what are my 3 most important messages I want people to remember? Sometimes people call this the take-home message. And so if you don't know what the 3 important things are when you do an elevator pitch, I think you don't really know what to say. And if you want to say everything, then maybe 90 seconds is not enough. So why would you even try that? It's really the idea to get people excited to hear more. That's a teaser. That's the elevator pitch. It's not telling how it exactly works and about every single person in the team. It's really about getting people excited. And the best thing is either you have some catchy image or you have some catchy phrase, or you have these 3 most important things that people really think that they want to be part of it. So I suggest you learn from this example. If you make a slide, it should be supportive of what you say. And if it's only 90 seconds, don't put too much text such that people get more confused than actually they can get out of it. Now let's look at the mission of a startup, which you can see on the next slide. So I got this subscription, this abstract description of what the solution is of a startupper. And they say the novelty of our breakthrough artificial intelligence solution is based on a proprietary paradigm shift in computational power and storage. Our architecture combines matrix vector multiplication and content addressable memory into a hyperdimensional computational kernel, which dramatically enhances training and inference algorithms required for unsupervised learning. I guess you have to agree, it's totally exciting. I mean, they do something which nobody has done before. Now, is this also appealing to investors? Unfortunately, most investors are not AI engineers. If they read this text, or if somebody tells the text to them, they will most likely not even understand what the founders are talking about. This is extremely technical, and it assumes that the listener is also a tech expert, which in most cases, especially for venture capitalists, is not the case. Also for angel investors, many of them don't have a computer science PhD. Now, why would you phrase your solution in such a way that neither the investor can easily understand it, nor your customer can easily understand it? It basically means you're not speaking the right language here. This language that you use might be good for other engineers, but even there, maybe then they want to give even more details, because this is very high level at the same time, but it's very technical. So if you talk about your solution, you should always think, would my mother understand it, or even my grandmother? Or could I tell it to a teenager? Would that person also be excited? And if you think, no, they will never understand it, most likely the way it's phrased is not appropriate, not just for the grandmother or the teenager, but maybe also for the investors. They don't need to be subject experts in all the fields that they invest in, because they bring other value. They might help you with the next financing round, they might know your customer, but maybe they're not domain experts. So whenever you speak to investors, do not assume that they are domain experts. They might have high-level know-how about the field, but they most likely will not be able to, for example, write computer software for you. But they want to understand why what you do is exciting, why it's new, why it's different, and why, when you do that, it's really a thing that the customer actually has a value of. So please be aware when you phrase this solution that you speak in a very simple language. It still has to be correct. And it shouldn't be too high level either, such that people actually understand what you're doing. That's the number one mistake I see, that when people describe what they do it in the wrong language because they don't understand the audience they're talking to. And so rather use simple language than complex language, rather make it such that you explain it piece by piece, not everything at once in very lengthy, complicated sentences. And even if it sounds simple, it's maybe just the right language, because later when you're going to sell the product, you also have to talk to your customers, and also they want to understand it. They do not just want to think, oh, you're the guru because you use amazing language which nobody understands and it sounds like super expert-like language, but that's not what you want. You don't want to be the guru for them, not for the investor and not for the customer. You want to be a trusted party that the customer wants the product of. And for that, both of these need to understand what you're doing and what your solution is. So again, use simple language and make sure you know the audience you talk to. Let's go to the next slide. So that's another delicate topic. How do you set the valuation of your startup? And some people use the discounted cash flow method for proving scientifically or mathematically that this is the actual value that they have. So what you see here, it's an example of a discounted cash flow calculation of a startup that will be sold in the last year. And then, of course, it's discounted. They think their exit will be 120 million in the last year. It's in the terminal value column. And because it's discounted, because this is a few years into the future, basically it's much less than that. It's about 26 million as of today, because you have to wait several years. And if you want a certain percentage of internal interest rate, which here is, I think, around 35% assumed, it will be discounted that much. Now, if you see how this adds up, for those that are familiar with discounted cash flow, you see that basically the terminal value, the exit price, is more of half of the eventual price overall that you think you're worth right now. So 26 million out of the 40 million come out of your guess how much you will be sold for. Now, you see this method, even though it looks mathematically sound, all the numbers that were chosen about the cash flows every year and also the exit price are completely arbitrary. And it's all about the future. You basically claim you know what's going to happen in the next 5+ years. And for an early stage startup, that's more than just guesswork. And because the exit price is more than half of the current price, it's basically even more arbitrary. So many of the investors, also early stage VCs, when you come with a discounted cash flow method, they will think you just made this up. It's just not even based on anything factual. You just try to show them something factual, which indeed actually is not factual. So some people just will turn away when they see you calculating with arbitrary numbers just to make it look scientific. What you should do instead is don't set the valuation at all, but show what you have. Show what you've done, show who is in the team. Yeah, like the next slide. That's also an amazing team slide. All these nice smiling faces. But what does it tell to the investor? It basically tells nothing, because of course it's smiling people which are all in this team, but you don't know which role they have. You don't know why this is the right team. You don't know which experience they have. And instead of just writing this is the best team, you should give the facts to support that. And in the end, the investors will come to the conclusion that you will have the best team because, for example, in all the important areas, you have somebody who can build it, somebody who can sell it, somebody who can grow the customer base, and so on. So all the strategic fields that you need are actually set, and the people that do it are a good match. And for this, you need to give some support in facts. So smiling faces are great, of course. You should always be smiling, especially if you do fundraising, because people want to have fun that work with you. But at the same time, give something that really gives substance, such that in the end, the investor thinks you have the best team. You don't have to tell that you have the best team. Now, let's move on to the next slide. Yes, some people ask, how can I learn about angel investing? So if I am a founder, maybe I don't want to talk to investors before I talk to investors, because if I do something wrong, maybe they all know each other. So what you do is normally you talk to other startuppers. And that's totally okay, especially those which got funding. Now, what you could also do is you could try to find some literature about that. And for Switzerland, it was quite difficult to find something. And that's exactly why HealthTech decided to write a book about angel investing. And it's actually good for both, for investors or people that want to become angel investors, and for founders to know and to better understand angel investing. Because many of the early stage startups, they will actually deal with angel investors in the first 2 years. And so we put this together. Let's see on the next slide. Do you see the next slide? Yes. So the handbook is available for free. It was put together over the last 2 years by volunteers. I was the editor of it. It's a 258-page handbook, which covers all the important topics about the journey of a startup and about angel investing. And you can download, basically right now you can register for the book, and you're going to get the PDF version or the physical book for free, because we have 5,000 copies printed thanks to some really great partners. We can do that for free. We already have shipped 4,000 of them because all our friends, they already pre-registered. So we still have a few more to give out. So if you want it, go to angelhandbook.ch or go on the QR code link, and maybe Katja can also share it later in the email. And this is the topics it covers, from angel investing, sourcing deal, through business models, down to how to incentivize employees or how to do startup valuation or due diligence properly. So with that, I hope that you find some good entrance into angel investing. And later on, I'm also be in the networking session. If you have more questions, then we can also meet there. So thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Thomas. We really appreciate your presentation.
Welcome.
And we'll definitely share the link as well as physical books to those who will be in Kraftwerk in upcoming days. So thank you. So for all the startups now, you know all the secrets, so you can run for the investments. And we have actually quite a lot of investors from Sikti Group today here. So please take advantage also of the networking later on. And again, we'll be sharing this book with you as well. And if I take it to the next, what's happening is the first pitches. And so we will start with the first one, which is Floodlight. So welcome to Nate from FinTech InsurTech.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are time zone wise. My name is Nate Wine. I'm co-founder and CEO of Floodlight. We saw a big challenge, my co-founder and I, in banking. I worked in capital markets for several years. My co-founder worked in relationship management, ultra high net worth affluent groups in wealth management. A lot of the focus really seemed on connecting people's values with their money, but most of the information that seemed available to them was geared towards what a company's intention is. So as an example, if you have $1 million that you're investing in a portfolio of ETFs, equities, bonds, and other treasuries, a lot of people would say, look, that's great. We're at the top of an 11-year cycle. But what was missing for them is wanting to know, hey, I really care about the environment. How can I make sure that the money that I'm investing is investing in companies that also take the environment seriously? How can I know if the companies that I'm invested in are actually focusing on diversity, equity, inclusion, or any other non-financial concerns? We understand and recognize fully that the reason you're in the room is to make that client more money, to make them alpha. But the secondary reason that is becoming more and more central, especially to younger demographics and women especially, is the values alignment. So Floodlight, as a platform, is a data platform that actually focuses people's investments to align with their money. By using our software, which is subscription-based, a user can understand what a company has actually done versus what they've actually said their intentions are. And I see Katka smiling, so I'm going to stop there. But if you're interested, please reach out to me after. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nate, for joining us from LA and for joining us hopefully for networking later on, so you can answer more questions. And the next one I would like to invite is Felix from Helvengo. And what we will do is that it's only really 1 minute. So anytime in the end of the 1 minute, I will always show up. Good luck, Felix.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Felix. I'm one of the founders of Helvengo. So the founding team are all former managers and first employees of the unicorn VFox. And with Helvengo, we are now here to redefine how small business risks are identified and covered through forward-thinking insurance. We are operating as an MGA product provider that allows us to scale quickly, also internationally, and also focus on the digitization of the insurance value chain without the need to carry the risk in our books. With our MVP, we were able to reduce the time needed for new business processes from a couple of days to a couple of minutes for our distribution channels. That's thanks to our digital risk analysis and our fully automated underwriting. With our products, we are focusing on all P&C insurance products in the SME space. We focus on indirect distribution, today in Switzerland and next year onwards in the DACH region. For that, we are currently raising our seed round, and I'm happy to catch up with you on the current round.
Thank you so much, Felix. Maybe one kind reminder to the startups when you come on, please don't forget to show us your face. And how can you do that is then you turn on the video. All right, so the next one, I would like to invite Marcus from My Ego, please.
So how can I turn on my video here? Here, okay. Should work now? No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. Can you hear me at all?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, somehow the video doesn't work. Anyway, I will start. So I'm Marcus from MyEgo. MyEgo is a decentralized infrastructure for digital identity. And we bring sovereignty over personal data back to the user. Technically, it's an open approach with a cross-wallet function. So every business can address one wallet on the user's smartphone. And we are an infrastructure on the user's smartphone. We are not another app. Besides some significant benefits for companies in the area of user verification and smart onboarding, it ensures an easy participation in digital business processes for the user. Our solution is live. We have several clients already, and we are currently looking for a late stage seed pre-A round of around 1.5 million euro.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That was quick and clear. Super cool. All right, next one we have Risk Wolf. Do we have a Risk Wolf?
Yes, I am here.
Fantastic. So anytime you're ready, go for it.
Yes, thanks. Hi, my name is Thomas. I'm the CEO and co-founder of RiskWolf. RiskWolf is the global platform for customized parametric insurance. Think about an accident insurance on the internet, focusing on new risks such as connectivity and cloud outages, as well as other issues in digital journeys. We have launched our first products in Asia. We offer protection here for telco subscribers and e-commerce merchants, and we are backed by a global reinsurer with capacity and underwriter. Currently, we are setting up partnerships with distribution partners in South and Southeast Asia, addressing a market of more than 1 billion customers. We plan to approach investors early 2022 with our next round details. I'm happy here to connect today with you already to provide more information on our InsurTech venture. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That was a record pitch. The next one we'd like to invite is Bruce Lee in food and retail tech, joining us from Austria.
Hi.
Hi.
Perfect. Can you hear me? I cannot turn on my camera as well. Okay.
We can hear you, no problem.
I cannot hear you, Katka. No.
We can hear you really well.
Okay, perfect. So every fifth spread is not landing on someone's plate. And we have a solution for this food waste. Brüsli, crunchy cereal from overproduced bread. So we refine crunchy bread and bring it back to consumers for a crunchy and sustainable breakfast. We work with retail partners as well as big bakery chains and offer them a circular economy solution to refine valuable food and bring it back to consumers online as well as in retail. So far, we have achieved 230,000 euros of revenue in 6 months since founding Brüsli and have gained a wide media coverage. Our mission is to reduce food waste, easy and simple, not just for bread and not only with cereal. For our next step in expanding Brüsli in the DACH region and to develop new products, we're looking for an investment up to 1 million euro by the end of the year. So if you want to be part of the Brüsli story, I'm happy to tell you more about us and get to know you better in the networking section. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sarah. So we heard you perfectly, and we'll see you at the networking, and also heard about the records for the investment. So I'll connect you even further. The next one we have also from food and retail, HealthTech.
Hi, everyone. I hope my camera works. I'm Sebastian. I'm one of the co-founders and the CTO of HealthTech. We are the company that created new nuts for the food and beverage industry, which come from a waste stream in the fruit industry, namely the pits of cherries, plum, and apricots, which actually have a great nutritional value. And we are making protein flours out of them. We're making dairy alternative and also oils with them already in the retail with groundbreaking technology that we have invented throughout the supply chain. Yeah, we are currently in the middle of a seed investment round of 1.1 million with already 700 of that taken and 400 left, which we want to close end of this year, and we're happy to speak to investors for this ticket in this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sebastian. All right, the next one, I'll see, do we have planned Jammer here? And I had some issues with connecting, so let's see. All right, still has issues, so let's see if they can come back. So let's try with the next one, which is Oscillum. Louis? Fantastic.
Hello, you hear me?
Yes, we hear you and we see you.
Okay, great. So good afternoon, everyone. We are Oscillum, a biotech company based in Spain. In Oscillum, we are developing smart labels that are capable of showing in real time the different and monitor the food by a simple color change. And with it, we can monitor either freshness, quality, and safety. These labels, we are selling them to the food producers and retailers. In fact, we already have 2 pre-sales agreements with big retailers in Europe. And with this technology, we aim to apply to as much as product as possible. Basically, we want to make the food value chain more sustainable and safe. At this point, we are seeking for 800,000 euros that will be implemented for the different industrialization and certification of our technology. Our team is comprehensive of different people with competences in sales, commercial, technical, and business strategy. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Luis. And the next one, we have Fresh Index by Tento. Changing the names as we go through the program. Do we have Julia here? No? Okay. Then we go with Jordi then. Elisa, can you hear us? Can you see us? Let's go. There you go. All right.
Perfect. Thank you, Katka. So I'm Elisa Chiarelli, and I'm the co-founder of Jordi. Every second restaurant has trouble staffing. With Jordi, we solve the biggest problems of the industry by digitalizing ordering and payment processes. With our modular solution, we fit into every concept. For example, we enable in-house self-ordering for the Familie Wiesner gastronomy venues here in Zurich, and also pre-ordering for takeaway and delivery for the Migros daughter Hitzberger. Also, we build our unique self-ordering marketplace in use at Frankfurt Airport, events and food courts. Our award-winning cloud solution helps top market leaders in 5 countries to tremendously increase their service efficiency and boost their revenue by up to 30%. To join our Series A round of 650K, please get in touch with us at Jordi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elisa. So see you in the networking, and then we'll go back to Plan Jammer. Let's try again. Here you go, Michael.
Amazing, and seeing as well. Amazing. We help people cook in Flandjammer. So basically, you all know coming home from work at 5 p.m. and having to cook and searching on Google what a jungle it can be to find through the millions of recipes. We invented a concept called dynamic recipes, where people, they can type in ingredients they have, they get suggestions, they can substitute ingredients, they actually talk to the recipe. These recipe experiences we publish on FMCG brand sites and retailer sites. And what's in it for them? They engage their customers, and at the same time, they get data. They learn what their customers love and hate as they're substituting ingredients. And with that data, they become a better company. So it's business intelligence and recipe engagement coming together. We're now at around 150,000 active users per week, present on 35 brand sites and 5 different retailer sites. And we're currently looking for €1 million investment along with the VC that we already have in our team.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Michael, and see you a little bit later in the networking. And for the next one, we are going to move to one of our entrepreneurship teams from CSEM, which is Matis. Mari, can you join us, please?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear really well.
And you can see me now. Okay.
Yes, we do. Go for it.
Very good. So hi, my name is Marie Didier. Today let me take you at the interface of art and science with my company Matis. So did you know that in the ever-growing art market, 50% of the artworks are fake? And art today is the asset with the highest return on investment. Especially nowadays, it's opening up to more individuals with NFT, crowdfunding, not only connoisseurs. So if you want to invest, how do you know you don't invest into fake? And even for art experts, sometimes it's difficult. So that's why art authentication is crucial. Art experts nowadays, they do comparative analysis with their naked eyes. They miss precious hidden information, leading to misinterpretation. So sometimes they mandate external imaging technology to help them, but it's not adapted to their daily work. So that's why we developed the Matis camera here. Our multispectral and machine learning driven technology give them access in 1 second click to pigment identification and reveal what's underneath the paint layers. Our prototype is in court of finalization by this end of this year. And in 2022, we will incorporate the startup as well are doing our pre-seed round of 2.5 million to target the interested market, art experts, and auction houses. So this is just the beginning. So now it's your chance to be part of the adventure. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Marie. And then the last but not least, before our next panel discussion, is also entrepreneurship team from Swisscom, Life Sensor, Samuel.
Thank you very much, Katka. All right, so people fall unconscious and get badly injured all the time, everywhere in the world. And mostly that happens alone. So it's not very often that you're falling unconscious. Someone sees you and is like, oh, hey, the person there just fell to the ground. Let me call the ambulance. And if you fall unconscious or get badly injured when you're alone, that's really, really dangerous because it can take hours until someone finds you, walks into your apartment or walks into the woods like, oh, someone's lying here, and calls the ambulance. So when that happened to my mother, she was lying on the ground for several hours unconscious. And I realized, whoa, that's a really big problem. I also realized when the ambulance came, hey, she had her smartphone in her pocket all the time. Everyone has got the smartphone in the pocket all the time. So I decided to create Life Sensor. We are developing a mobile application that knows when the user fell, had an accident, and is not getting back up again. So it can automatically call help for you, call someone in your surroundings, or call the ambulance after you had an accident and you're lying on the ground badly injured or unconscious. We hope to launch several solutions next year for seniors, so for elder people, also for outdoor sports, solo jogging, solo hiking, solo mountain biking, and maybe even for 24/7 everyday use. We are not directly looking for funding, but just looking for help and interest from everywhere in every field. So if you would be interested in learning more about Life Sensor, please hit me up.
All right, thank you so much, Samuel. See you in the networking part. And then I'm really happy to move to the next milestone of our event, which is the panel discussion, focusing on investments and opportunities. And I would love to welcome on stage the following speakers. Jan Husler, who is the CEO of the Credit Suisse Entrepreneurial Capital, Jennifer Webb, who is the Investment Director, Swisscom Ventures, and then also, of course, back Thomas Dubendorfer, who is the President and Founder of HealthTech. So if you would like to join me on the screen, we'll have the panel discussion. All right. Hello, Jan, and hi, Thomas.
Can you see and hear me?
We can both see you, and we can also hear you really well now. Fantastic. And then Jennifer, if you can join us. I believe Jennifer, it's just coming in a second. All right, so maybe we can start with the questions and then Jennifer will join us. I know she is on delayed train, so just to see of the questions. But maybe we can start. So Jan, can you tell us a little bit more of what kind of activities are you engaged with in your daily job, and how do you guys currently invest in startups?
Yes, happy to do so. And first of all, thank you very much, Kotka, for having me. I mean, it's always a pleasure to be at these panels or part of these sessions. Now, I think we have a bit of an echo. Just give me a second. Okay, now it's better. Now, as you might know, we in Credit Suisse, or with the vehicle Credit Suisse Entrepreneur Capital, we are not a traditional venture capitalist or a startup investor, but also based on the history, obviously, we are very interested in looking into interesting opportunities in this space. Now, in corporate venture capital, it's obviously a bit different than traditional venture capitalists because we, being embedded in a corporate environment, we have to obviously navigate a bit between an element of strategic fit on the one hand side, which ideally obviously is the case or is a critical element when it comes to sourcing. Now, in our case, having quite a diverse portfolio and also doing pure financial investments, it's not the most critical element, but obviously one of the topics that we always take into consideration. Then second element, which is always critical, is an element of performance. So we need to somehow balance obviously risk and return when it comes to our investments, a very critical element. And then last but not least, you are always a bit dependent on the overall risk appetite of the company, the firm behind you. Now, having said that, because we've changed our investment strategy, moving from early stage into more later stage space, which obviously was necessary also in terms of getting better possibilities to do a proper risk assessment when it comes to the investments and having a bit of better grip on the development and also the exit path of the companies, which often is very unsecure or unclear at the very beginning. Nonetheless, even though we moved a bit more towards later stage, we obviously still have a couple of early stage or younger companies in our portfolio, and obviously also some of them where we are quite excited and happy to have them. And we are still convinced that in some occasions it's important also to be part at an early stage as an investor in also developing the companies and bringing them into a growth stage where we would typically more look into from an investment strategy perspective. And therefore we still have, and it's a bit more focused these days, we still have high interest in topics or opportunities, business models around the topic of automation and robotics as one of the verticals that we look into. The second vertical is more geared toward life science and medtech. And then last but not least, and that's a pretty broad area because obviously most of the opportunities that we come across, they have somehow a digital angle, but we still have this vertical called digital, and they're mainly obviously being or having a bank behind us. The fintech topic is of interest. But having said that, when it comes really to sourcing and in our activities, going out to the market, finding the right opportunities, we are more focusing towards later stage, but we have this opportunistic approach in looking into interesting cases along these verticals.
Thank you so much, Jan. If we go to Thomas, I know you gave us quite a presentation about what to not to do, but can you maybe tell us more a little bit about the HealthTech ecosystem, how it works, and what kind of startups have you been supporting? And I know you also invested in some of the Kickstart startups, so can you maybe tell us about the experience so we inspire some startups here today?
Sure. So basically, we're a community of investors. So HealthTech itself is just a platform. HealthTech does not invest. It's an association. It's pro bono. We try to connect the best investors with the best founders. Now, our community has grown a lot. We have more than 450 active investors. And we're also the most active investment vehicle in Switzerland, I would say. We had 80 investment rounds last year into Swiss startups. At the same time, we have quite a narrow focus. We only invest into startups which have the domicile in Switzerland and which are scalable and which are early stage and which have a technology component. So even though we have a very restrictive focus overall, we still have a lot of deal flow. We see about 200 new Swiss startups that fit our criteria that want to get funded every year. Out of them, about half of them makes it on stage. We have more than a dozen events where we have more than 100 investors in the audience and between 6 and a dozen startups on stage. We always pick the best ones, so you have to earn it to come on stage, but it is for free. So if you're good enough, you get a slot, and then hopefully matchmaking works. And if you're not yet good enough, you can come again 6 months later once you have improved. So it's not a no forever. If you don't make it once, just keep improving. Our jury is also happy to give feedback, whether it was more the problem with the team composition or the mission or the scalability or the quality of the document, or whether it just was not really something new. So you can always ask back if you don't make it to learn and hopefully improve, and hopefully next time it works. Now regarding investments in Kickstart startups, one of the Kickstart alumni is Vizu. There I was involved in the seed round, and we saw how they made an amazing proof of concept with AXA, which later they become the biggest customer that they have, and they really learned a lot from the customer and made an industry-grade product. Nobody would have thought that they would, in the end, develop a product mostly for salespeople. At the beginning, it was a super generic AI tool, but thanks to AXA and Kickstart Accelerator, they found actually a product market fit. And when they came to Kickstart, it just had an amazing technology and a very smart team, but it didn't really have a product. And it was good to see the journey from a technology startup, from an amazing ETH founder team with PhDs into a company that actually understands what the value for the customer is. Yeah, any more questions? I can go deeper, of course, but in the interest of time, maybe you have other questions as well.
Cool. Yeah, maybe let me ask the next question. So I believe we have Jennifer here now too.
Yes, can you hear me and see me?
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome. Thank you so much for fighting despite the challenges today. Thank you so much for joining us.
No worries. Pleased to be here.
Cool. So Jennifer, maybe to include you on the first question, I'm not sure if you heard others. So can you tell us a little bit more? What is your engagement with Swisscom, and usually how do you engage in the investments with the startups? And I believe you also are part of a really special initiative coming up. So if you can share a little bit more, I would love to hear about that.
Sure, absolutely. So Swisscom Ventures is an investment vehicle looking at investment ranges from seed to Series C. We look at seed relatively opportunistically, but we do look at it, and we look all the way up to Series C. So it's a multi-stage investment platform. It's financially driven, although it does have the Swisscom heritage. So we do have external institutional investors for whom we manage capital. And I mean, what to say about us in terms of the verticals and the themes that we look into B2B enterprise SaaS businesses. We look into deeper tech, so semiconductors, robotics, for example, industrial tech. But we also look into EdTech, FinTech, and also sustainability as themes. So that's how we source and approach transactions. I think that's enough. Any questions that you can ask me in the networking?
Perfect, Jennifer. Cool. So I will ask you all questions. Second question, maybe. Can you guys tell me about investments that you're really excited about lately? It can be from Swisscom, from other of your investment groups, or also anything that you can see on the market. Can you give us some example and maybe also tell us why? This will be fantastic. Whoever would like to start in, please jump in anytime.
Happy to start, Katka. I mean, that's difficult to say because we are excited about every investment that we ultimately execute. Now, over the past 1.5 or 2 years, it was probably a bit different because our focus was a bit more on also maintaining and supporting the existing portfolio companies that we have in order to really make sure that they are really capable and find the right approach to navigate the crisis. Nonetheless, we did a couple of new investments as well. And one of those we're very excited about is Sophia Genetics. Most of you probably might know it. It's a business in the medtech space. So it's about data-driven medicine to the benefit ultimately of patients as well as research and hospitals, etc. It's about collection of patient data, which always helps in drug development, which helps in diagnosis, and also ultimately helps in treatment. And we invested in the company only a year ago in 2020, and it was already at that stage a very promising case, not only because of the business model that they were in, but also the way they also built their growth strategy, the way they were set up as a team was very promising. And then somehow it was clear, and that's an important element for us as an investor, is that already at the point of investment, we somehow see a bit of move towards a potential exit. And in the case of Sophia Genetics, it was clear that an IPO might be the appropriate exit route, which luckily only a bit more than a year of investment, they managed to get listed on the NASDAQ. And now an IPO is not necessarily a given successful exit for an investor, but I think based on the company and the fact they got the listing, I think it's at least a very promising case that the company is developing definitely in the right direction. I think for us, and the reason why I'd like to showcase that one here today is that particularly in Switzerland, right, where you don't necessarily see that the businesses are developing necessarily globally. I think that's really a great case on what the innovation strength of Switzerland is, what the possibilities of a Swiss company also in a global scale could look like, and that ultimately everything is possible, right? And you can start very small in a very small country, and you can global and even find a slot on a stock exchange like the Nasdaq. So very exciting case for us. Now, obviously, we're looking forward to they're performing well, being listed, and then hopefully in the near future will also result in a satisfying or great exit for us as investors and also the company itself.
Fantastic, Jan. Cannot wait to hear about the next steps. There was one question that came up actually from one of the investors here. If a startup is in later stage financing round, who should they contact? Credit Suisse Entrepreneur Capital or Helvetia Capital?
I think very good question. Thanks for raising that point. And I think it's important to also really make clear the partnership between Credit Suisse Entrepreneur Capital and Helvetica Capital. Now, Helvetica Capital is our dedicated investment advisor. And when it comes to ideas, sourcing, I think you can go both ways. You can either send any proposals directly to me, or you can also, if you have a contact, approach Helvetica Capital, because we are very closely aligned. We are in daily interactions. Ultimately, it's the investment committee which will decide on potential investments. But I would say the really traditional or regular route is that proposals come in typically on my plate. I'll do a first check and review, and if I think it's a feasible investment and it meets to a large extent the investment guidelines, that I share it then with Helvetica Capital. They look a bit deeper, and then we decide whether we'd like to go into due diligence and ultimately bring it to the investment committee. But as far as ideas and then submission to us is concerned, you can go typically both ways.
Cool. Thank you so much. If maybe I could go to the next one, Jennifer, I will have a combo question for you. What will be the investment that you're really excited about lately? But also, if you had to recommend one thing to the startups here today, what it will be?
Sure. So two things. I mean, in terms of what we're excited about at Swisscom Ventures, we're really excited about our portfolios. So we deployed our first externally raised fund in 3 years between 2018 and 2021. And we have 6 unicorns in that fund vehicle now. One of them is Sophia Genetics, which just got a great shout out from Jan. So thank you, Jan. And so we're really excited about the progress of that portfolio. The second thing that we're excited about is the deployments that we're beginning to make out of our second fund. So we're just closing our second investment out of our second fund. And those are both in the digital health space. And we see this as a really strong area for Switzerland. And we're making, great strides in that vertical. So those are the things that we're excited about. In terms of your second question, where do I think entrepreneurs should really be looking? I mean, I think entrepreneurs shouldn't really be following trends. They follow their deeper insights and their experience on the businesses that they've been in. And I think it can be a great advantage sometimes to not be in the hype. Although sometimes it's nice when the limelight shines upon you, obviously. But that light moves around, and also good businesses surface in all different areas. So don't be concerned if at the moment you're not in one of those focus zones. I'm sure it will come. So I would encourage entrepreneurs to really focus on building enduring businesses, building great teams, and building on a unique insight and value proposition that they've identified.
Cool. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And then I will move for the last question to Thomas. So Thomas, you gave us a lot of advice. So I will not ask you for more advice, but can you share with us, let's say, excitement of any of the recent investments that you are working or you closed?
Sorry, can you repeat the last part?
What will be, if you had to choose one kind of deal that you're super excited about recently, what it will be with the connection to the investments, of course?
Yeah, sure. I mean, most exciting round ahead was a month ago, the $50 million growth round of Frontify, which is one of the startups I co-founded 8 years ago. So that was definitely great for Switzerland to show that we can have highly scalable software as a service companies here, which get international funding. And the great thing there is we had several term sheets, so they could actually pick and choose who was able to invest, which is the best position you can be in as a founder, of course. Now I'm still on the board with them, and it's a great journey. Of course, now we have to make sure we use the money in a good way. They opened the US office, they have another office in Frankfurt, but most of the people work in Switzerland, in St. Gallen, and most of the hiring is now in US, which is definitely a challenge. To hire so many people in so little time. So really 220 people. We want to hire at least 100 in the next year. And so that's the biggest challenge we have. We have all the funding, we have the strategy, a great product, but now we need to get the right people on board. And it's harder than you could think, even if you have everything in place to find the right people to grow. Because you don't want to destroy the company culture and you don't want to slow down the speed. And that's quite tricky, but it's also exciting. But I also like the early stage investments, which want to find product market fit. So I'm investing into 2 distance learning startups in the last 9 months because it became apparent that distance learning is not yet working very smoothly and there need to be better tools around. And I always like to work with young founders or founders that do it again after they have had an exit. One of the founders of one of these companies is a third-time founder. He had 2 exits already, and now he's doing it again, which I think is really amazing if people do it more than once.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for sharing your experiences and also the inspiration that hopefully come upon our startups. And we will move to the next round of the pitches, but we're looking forward to having you in the networking. So thank you so much for joining us all around Switzerland and all around Kraftwerk. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the networking session.
All right, so let's move to the second round of the pitches. Again, 1 minute each, and then the next one will be Mentessa. And yes, we are going to EdTech New Work now.
Hello, everyone. I am Tina, founder and CEO of Mentessa, a young B2B software startup in the area of future of work, actually the one that changes how companies work. To explain what we do, I want to ask you a question. Do you know why Tinder was invented? I learned that it was because introverted tech nerds in Silicon Valley did not dare to approach others. And this psychological problem exists in other areas of people's lives, of course, because we are people, especially at work. And solving it is both urgent and important because work is changing and companies today need to replace silence with know-how exchange, learning, and silos with diversity. They need to transform a workforce into a community. We are finally open and looking for investors. I'm very happy to meet you and tell you more about this.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tina. Perfect timing. And see you the networking. And we'll invite Dan from Giggle.
Hopefully you can all hear me. So thanks for having us. Giggle is essentially a video and mobile first job platform that was born out of Google's incubator here in London and my previous job as global head of recruitment to a US bank. We're essentially the future of finding work in hospitality, retail and events. We cover the spectrum of employers from SMEs to large corporates and have notable companies on the platform, including Hard Rock Hotel, Subway, Tortilla, etc. What we do is connect people through the mobile app and video technology really, really quickly and save up to 80% efficiency within the hiring process, ultimately making it fast, friendly and fun, and very much engaged by Gen Z. With regards to our fundraising journey, we've recently closed a $1.5 million seed round led by a large family office and Oxbridge Capital. And now we're growing very significantly over the next 12 to 18 months as we move towards Series A. So looking forward to connecting with people during the networking. Thank you.
Hi, Dan. Thank you so much. And then we will now move to Everlearn with Felix.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, it works. Wonderful. Hi, everybody. I'm Felix, one of the 2 co-founders of Everlearn. People today are challenged with a world changing very rapidly. It's easy to feel isolated and disconnected. And when it comes to work, many of us think about a way how to get back into a career. At the same time, companies can't find the talent they need. There's a major disconnect and it's holding people and companies back. Educational providers on the other side, they're here to close these skill gaps, but they might work with a very different focus and of course a certain delay. All these actors are working siloed on the biggest reskilling challenge ever, and a missing common language and a network to apply it. Everlearn closes that divide by reinventing the way people understand their skills, their career path, and the local job market. Our platform will recommend users the courses to upskills to the jobs they want, and this all based on a common language around skills. We are currently raising a seed round of about 1 million Swiss francs, which we are about to close, but a very tiny window is still open. So looking forward to catch up with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Felix. And the next one, we will have Clever Care Amy with HealthTech.
Hi everyone, Amy, I'm CEO of Clever Care. Outpatient care is growing, but it's really complex because it requires input from nurses, physicians, pharmacists, patients, and their families. And these people often haven't worked together before. And this can compromise productivity and patient outcomes in care. We have an app that enables more efficient care collaboration and reduces unpaid care coordination by up to 1/3. Our solution provides structured role-based communications between both formal and informal caregivers. We recently launched our SaaS solution in dementia care with several Spitex organisations as our paying customers. Now we're developing additional features to increase relevance for physicians and pharmacies so that we can facilitate further efficiency gains and enable expansion into other therapeutic areas such as chronic care management. To realise our vision of becoming the communication platform of choice in outpatient care, we're seeking 1.5 million to fund the required development to achieve this. We invite you to join Clever Care on our journey towards better quality of life for care providers, patients, and their families. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. And the next one, we have also in HealthTech, Anton Fuel.
No, yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Yeah, hello. I'm Anton Isaksson, business developer at Fuel. We capture and enhance biometric data from smartphones and wearables. Our algorithms convert any kind of motion and health data into meaningful and scientifically validated units that we call healthy minutes and fuel points. These are used for bonus and loyalty programs, fitness coaching and prevention, dynamic pricing and underwriting. We have been able to reduce churn, morbidity, and mortality risks, as well as boost businesses. Our SaaS platform is delivered as a turnkey solution. We have a strong international team with a different strength set. Headquarters are based in Finland, but we have an office in Berlin as well. And we've gained good traction in 4 countries so far, and the insurance company Helsana in Switzerland that runs successfully almost 200,000 users on our platform is one of them. Now we're seeking for an investment from a strategical investor in the DACH region to strengthen our position and scale. Thank you very much and hope to talk to you soon.
Then now we will end this.
Hello, my name is Dr. Evan Farrer. I'm the co-founder of Otto. Tinnitus is a terrible condition affecting 1 in 8 people. You might know it as ringing in the ears. There's no cure, and it's very difficult to access help of any kind. People are desperate. Our app provides instant access to therapy that works. We launched in January, and we've already achieved industry-leading product metrics. Our paying customers are using the app for 40 minutes a day, on average 4 times per week. We're experiencing rapid user and revenue growth, with our MRR growing on average 35% month on month. Today, we're also delighted to announce that we'll be performing a POC with Medbase to help bring innovation into tinnitus care, one of many B2B2C partnerships that we're exploring. Tinnitus is just the start. Our vision is to become the definitive digital solution for all underserved chronic conditions, including chronic jaw pain, voice disorders, and chronic fatigue, a global market well over £100 billion. So we've been accepted onto the next batch of the Y Combinator Accelerator, and we're looking for seed investors. We're looking for investors for a seed round closing early next year. Thank you.
The next one we will have David from Remente.
No one?
We
Can you hear me now?
can hear you.
Okay, so hopefully. In the past year, everyone has been mentally affected by the pandemic in one way or another. And this has turned mental health to a top priority among forward-thinking businesses across the world, as existing support systems are too reactive and underutilized. Remente is a mental health and well-being app for individuals and businesses that has been acknowledged by Apple, Google, and the American Psychiatric Association. Having tested the app on 2 million people across the globe, we have proven that we can influence mental health positively without human intervention. We can offer yearly 24/7 mental health support at a cost lower than the cost of 1 hour of therapeutic counseling. To us, this is to democratize mental well-being. As we see a surging demand among businesses for our solution, with a strong pipeline of inbound leads, we want to leverage that situation and raise a seed round that will help us invest in sales, marketing team, and scientific validation. Thank you.
Hello, do you hear me? Hi, this is Kaspar. I'm co-founder and CEO of Sugar. Our software helps facility and corporate real estate managers to reduce costs and increase transparency, flexibility, and sustainability of cleaning services, thanks to a usage-oriented planning and execution based on data and artificial intelligence. Our customers are leading facility managers like ISS and international corporates like Roche. We are right now looking for 1 million new cash in a seed round to build our external R&D team and to push marketing and sales in Germany in the next year. Existing investors like the well-known Jürg Schwarzenbach or Mr. Twint, Thierry Kneissler, already committed 400,000 Swiss francs in this round. Now, we open the round for new investors to shape the future of facility services together with us. Valuation is at 5 million. Minimum ticket size is 100,000 Swiss francs. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Pleased to meet you. Katka, I can't hear you, but very nice to be here. My name is Olle Henning. I'm commercial co-founder of Labtrino, or Future Quantify. What we do is we develop a non-invasive water or flow meter that's installed on the outside of the pipe, which means that we eliminate all the need for expensive plumbers or installers to do it. We sew this together into an intelligent platform to detect water leaks and prevent any damage from water leaks, either through bursted pipes or leaking pipes or whatever it might be. And we're working together with real estate companies and insurance companies to lower their carbon emission from water consumption and prevent any damage from water leaks. And now we're looking to raise 1 million Swiss francs together with US investors. So if you have capabilities within clean tech or prop tech, we'd love to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ole. All right, and the next one is Java for build tricks. And I think now you can hear me, which is fantastic. Java, can you see us? Can you hear us?
Yes. Okay, thanks, Katka, for the introduction. Hello, my name is Javad, the CEO and co-founder of Buildtrix. Buildtrix is a fast-growing provider of data-driven and energy intelligence solution for energy experts and facility managers. We help them to uncover abnormalities and energy-saving opportunities in their buildings using digital twin and data analytics. This gives our users a better understanding of how energy is consumed inside buildings, and our solution helps them make better decisions and therefore contribute to decarbonized buildings and sustainable energy consumption. We are a Portuguese startup based in Lisbon with projects in Portugal, Italy, and recently Switzerland. We're looking for a $500,000 seed funding, mainly for growth and market expansion. Thank you, and looking forward to talking to you in the networking session.
Fantastic, thank you so much, Javad, and see you in the networking. And the next one I'd like to invite is Matthias from Tide Ocean.
Hello, thank you, Katka. 1 second. So you all know that there's way too much plastic in the ocean, but why is that? It all comes down to one simple problem. Plastic isn't considered to have value. Tide Ocean is here to change that. We're collecting ocean-bound plastic waste and give it a second life as a valuable raw material. We have developed an award-winning mechanical process to upcycle plastic waste, and we combine this technology with a transparent supply chain and significant social impact on the ground. This is what makes us so good at giving plastic waste value. We have already partnered up with 90 international brands and are developing 200 products. Tom Ford used our material to create a $1,000 watch. But to have an actual impact, we need to conquer other industries and increase the volumes, which is why we're currently raising equity bridge financing of $1 million. We help to turn waste into a $1,000 watch. Do you want to become part of that? Come talk to me. Thank you.
Fantastic, Matthias. Thank you so much. And the next one we have David from Carvero. Going back to FinTech to keep it interesting.
Hello, can you hear me? Perfect. Hi, my name is David Buser. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Canveo, and we make it faster and cheaper for companies to deal with contracts. Today, it costs an average of 6,900 francs to close a minor contract. Why is that? Because we're dealing with contracts the way we did 20 years ago, through files, Word, PDF, email. There's no digitization there. So we solve this by moving the contract out of the file and onto a dedicated platform for contracts. Just like in accounting, where we moved from Excel files to platforms like Bexio or NetSuite. It's a big market, 10.8 billion euro in the EU alone. We have very happy customers, including in Switzerland. We were founded by a former head of legal and a former Googler, and we're looking to raise a seed round early next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. So we'll see you in the networking. The next we have Patrick from Cognition Corp. Patrick, if you can see us. Yes, coming.
So Cognition, I'm a founder and co-founder and CEO of Cognition. We're a platform that enables you as a large organization to connect the dots between your strategy and the behavior of people on the ground. So a typical example of this is if you have a sustainability strategy, which you've worked out over the last 5 years, you've probably engaged on a board level. Now you need to engage the C-suite leadership and lower rungs of the organization. We help you do that so that people can exhibit the behaviors that you've been planning for all this time. In the 10 years of Cognition's history, we've been a hybrid of consulting and tech. We've recently split the business into two parts, and we're raising $1 million on a $10 million cap for the new software as a service side of the business. We've raised $285,000 so far for this. Our clients across the group are Fortune 500 clients. Our largest partner is Accenture, and we are looking to use the capital to complete our authoring tools for scalability and for market expansion. And we intend to expand the customer base beyond the Fortune 500 level and into a middle market space so that companies find that there is no barrier to changing their strategy. They can use our platform to drive change immediately and get measurable change in 30 days or less. So thanks. If that kind of approach interests you, I'd love to chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. And then we'll move to the last pitch, which is with Oliver with Meta, and I believe you switch screens. So maybe Oliver, if you would like to join us, and we will start the pitch in 2 seconds. All right, Oliver.
Absolutely. I hope you can hear me live from the Seychelles. It's an honor to present today. Thank you very much. I recently became a first-time dad. While this made me happy, now I'm sad. Why, you may ask and look confused? Because kids in Switzerland are being used to make double-digit profits for daycare providers at the cost of the parents, employees who are minimum wage riders. Switzerland's daycares are the most expensive on the globe, while their service ranks lowest in Europe, almost without hope. So Meta reimagines what daycare actually means, a concept that focuses on kids, their parents, and employees' needs. Leveraging the power and ecosystem of the Migros Group, we will offer daycare with additional services as a brand new scoop. For example, picking up your kid along with groceries and dinner sounds just fine. Imagine you have issues with your kids and receive help from the community. Now that's truly divine. As Meta comes straight from Juliana and my heart, we are keen to make it happen with Kickstart. Just like true poets, we're not here for your money, but we always appreciate your ideas and thoughts, and we're very happy to connect. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Oliver. I really love how those last speech were definitely memorable as we had it also as a poem. So fantastic. All right. So I am happy to say that we concluded overall of 26 pitches from 50 different countries. And what is next is really exciting time of networking. And so when you will be joining in just 2 minutes, maybe a couple of tricks to share. So you'll go to the main stage and there are tables, virtual tables. And then they have logos of different investment groups. And so we hope that the investment representatives will join those tables to share their experiences and also network with the startups. And then there's also general tables of Kickstart, which has individual investors joining. So I would say if you're an investor, please go to the table where you can see your logo, or go to the general table so you can connect with the startups. And if you're a startup, please take your time to go and join the tables and network with the investors, but also don't forget to switch the tables in next 40 minutes. We have the networking now from now until 6 p.m. So I hope that you enjoyed. If you have any questions, you can post that in the chat. And maybe a couple of the things to share. We are recording this session, so we're going to join this after and also help with introductions as needed, as well as with additional ecosystem players in upcoming days and weeks. So I really hope that this event as a content was useful to you to kind of get a little bit oriented, who to connect to and who to follow with. And I will see you on the networking floor in a little bit of time. Thanks so much to also my colleagues here in the background working the magic of the Investor Summit. So see you at the tables, and thanks to all the speakers and supporters. Thank you.